Jackie didn't throw anything at me. I forgot to start the video.
I don't have anything to throw.
That's okay. Yeah, so say that again, Angel. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, it is the y-axis. So here is x equals 0, here is y equals 0, and here is y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 5. So all we've really done, guys, is just graphed these three lines. A vertical line, a horizontal line, and a diagonal line. But what do you notice? Remember what Jake told us? These lines are they're going to create a shape. What shape do you see in there? Triangle. In fact, what kind of triangle? It's a right triangle. And that's going to be awesome because after we find it, they want us to tell us a couple things here. Determine the perimeter and the area. So you guys are probably pretty much pros when it comes to dealing with some of this stuff. How tall is this triangle? That's actually the base. I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter. No. So you're saying this is 5. How far would this be right here? That's 2. Oh, shoot. How do we find this piece? Close. We use a theorem. This is the hypotenuse. Yeah, we use the Pythagorean theorem. You guys got it. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. We'll use that to see if we can find c. Yeah, so go ahead, guys. I'll give you a second. We plug in A could be either 5 or 2. It doesn't matter. B could be either 5 or 2, but C has to be the hypotenuse. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking we get something like square root of 29. What? Did you say 841? Just kidding. I think square root of 29 is going to be something ungodly. So why don't we just leave that? Let's just leave that as the square root of 29. Yeah, check this out. If I try to do the square root of 29, that's what I get. That's it's an irrational decimal. I'm going to leave this as the square root of 29. So how would you guys describe the perimeter? Well, now, wait a minute. What is perimeter? Christian, remind us, man. How do you find the perimeter of something? You add up all the sides. Yeah, you go all the way around the shape. So 5 plus 2, we know that's going to be 7. That part's pretty easy. Here's the thing, though. Plus, what's the other side over here? Square root of 29. And I don't know about you, but I don't think we should add those together. I'm just going to leave it like that. If you do 7 plus the square root of 29 and actually try to find that, you get an irrational decimal. So forget that noise. Thank you, Christian. Let me help you out, man, for telling us what perimeter was. Coming at you. How about another chance for a minute here? Anybody can tell me a little bit about area? How do we find the area of a triangle? So the area is going to be how much space is covered by the inside of the shape. So how do we find that? Isabel, go ahead. So not quite. We're talking the area of a triangle, a right triangle here. Well, you actually gave me 3 dimensions there. That would be volume. Justin, go ahead.
One half times base times height.
Yes, sir. 1/2 base times height. Anybody remember that from back in middle school? No? Yeah. Hopefully some of you guys do. Area equals 1/2 base times height. That's how you find the area of a triangle, of a right triangle. And that's good news because, Kate, if it's base and height, do we have to use our hypotenuse at all if we're just talking base and height? No, which is a big blessing. We don't have to deal with that square root of 29. So our area of our right triangle is going to be equal to 1/2 our base. Like I told you guys earlier, our base technically, if you want to get specific, our base is going to be 5. Not that it matters here. Times our height, which technically is 2. But again, it doesn't matter when you're multiplying. What order you put those in. And I'll let you guys, I guarantee you can figure that out. I have full confidence. Take the two easy numbers, multiply them together, and then multiply by half. I would not multiply 5 by half to start. Take the easy numbers, multiply them together, cut it in half. And don't forget, they don't give us the actual units, so we have to represent it by units. And with area, it won't just be units. It'll be units squared. So, David, what'd you end up getting, man, for our area? Well, what's 5 times 2? And what's 10 cut in half? 5. You just got it done. 5 units squared. Now, guys, here comes the tricky part. I know these first 2 parts have not been bad, but check this out. This is the part where we actually get into some real geometry. What do they want us to do? Lucas, what's number 4 asking us? Okay, here's what I want you guys to do. Give me a triangle down here, the same exact triangle. You don't have to draw all the lines. Just give me the, goes out to 2 on the x-axis, goes up to 5 on the y-axis. Just give me this right here. Okay. Here's that same triangle. How do we revolve this around the x-axis? How on earth? What'd you say? You kind of flip it. Imagine this. Imagine I had something right here. Check it out. Dakota, if I rotate, check it out, guys. Is that kind of like spinning it around? Yes. until I drop it. So yeah. So when we say revolve it, we're going to be rotating it around and around and around. So watch what happens, guys. If you were to flip this triangle around and around and around in a circle, watch what kind of shape this makes. Well, it would flip over to here, and wouldn't you be rotating it like this? It would actually become a what kind of shape is this, guys? So let me flip off the lights real quick. Check it out. Look at our options over here. So we just made this thing 3-dimensional. It was a triangle. We started rotating it around the x-axis 360 degrees. What kind of shape did we just make? Well, it looks, if I were to take it off the graph, it looks like that. What does that remind you of? That's a cone. Oh, yeah. It's like that dunce hat they put on you, right, Jet? When you go to whatever restaurant that is. So, I'm just teasing. If we're going to be doing that, they want us to find the volume. So we said, hey, you got a right circular cone if you revolve this triangle around the x-axis. You spin it around the x-axis like this, creates a cone. And if we're going to find the volume, we've got that right there. Here's the problem, though. We have one new element now. We know the height. Remember, what's the height of this cone going to be? No. This cone, you have to stand it up. You stand it up, it's only got a height of 2. This thing's got a very short height. Now, here's the problem. We got to find the radius. R stands for radius. Can anybody maybe give us a pretty good definition? Cody, what's a radius?
Half of the diameter.
Half the diameter. So what would our diameter be? Wouldn't that be from one end of this circle to the other?
Yeah.
That'd be 10. So what would your radius be? 5. That'd be half of that. Yes. And so you guys you probably see, wait a minute, we have R, we have H. We have everything we need. Your volume is going to be 1/3 pi. Been a minute since we've seen pi. Yeah, times 5 squared times 2. We're just plugging in our height and our radius here, guys. And here's what I want you to do. Leave this in terms of pi. In other words, do not multiply pi in. Leave pi to the side. Because pi is an irrational number, just like square root of 29. If you try to multiply that with the rest of this, we're going to get an ungodly decimal. And a lot of times they want you to leave volume in terms of pi. So just focus on 1/3 times 5 squared times 2. I'll let you guys see what you get for 1/3 times 5 squared times 2. And if you want to know what your answer, I won't give you the answer, but if you want to know what the answer should look like, something pi, units, not squared, but cubed, because we're talking volume, which is 3D. We're in the third dimension finally. So I'll give you guys a second. 5 squared times 2, multiply it by a third. And leave that as a fraction. If it were me, I would leave that as a fraction. I'll go to somebody here in just a second.
25.
You're good. 5 squared is going to be 25. What happens if you take 25 and double it?
Double 25?
Yeah.
Double it.
I think what Jack is screaming back there is 50. Right in your ear. So you have 1/3 times 50. Now wait a minute. Dakota, if you have a fraction times a whole number, what part of that fraction does it multiply to? It goes to the top. So what's 50 times 1? 50 over 3. And will that reduce? No, 3 does not go into 50. It does not. And so, guys, that would be your volume. 50 over 3 pi units cubed. I want to say that number's around 70 if you would actually type that all in with pi. Now, what I'm going to let you do, I'm going to freeze it up here for a second. But for those of you who are ready, I'm going to give you a chance. There's just one of these exact same kind of problem. On page 4. This is going to be great because almost all of you, in fact, I think virtually all of you right now are on track for pre-cal or calculus. This is what you're going to see a ton of when you get in there. You're going to it is. So I'm trying to prep you guys for that as best I can. So for my pre-cal and calculus kids, this is all love for you guys. So page 4, I'm going to give you guys a chance to try one of these with your partner that you worked on day 8 with. So go ahead and give. This is just one problem on the back here. Give page 4 a shot. I'll put the answers up here if you want to double check it. And then I'm going to give you guys the last 16 to 17 minutes of class to work on Delta when you get done with this. But stick with me, keep working, and we'll check and see if you guys got this right on number 2. Here in about 5 minutes. So that's my little pro tip to you guys. Turn your paper sideways and start rotating this shape. See, it rotates like that. It was a right triangle. Now it becomes a right circular cone as you rotate it. Well, yeah, keep reading, man. It tells you what to do each time. Sketch and shade the figure. Draw a picture of the figure revolved around the x-axis. Check, check. Find the volume that is formed once you do rotate it around the x-axis. Yep, and leave your answer in terms of pi, guys. So you can leave pi beside it. Or if you really don't want to, you can multiply pi and just leave it rounded to the nearest 10. So volume is going to be, the radius 3. The height is going to be 7. And so you've got 1/3 pi times 3 squared times 7. And Angel, I'm going to go ahead and let you tell us what you got here. What did you get whenever you did 3 squared times 7? So 9 times 7 would be Wouldn't that be 63? Yeah, and then you take 63 and multiply that to 1/3. Yep, so that cut into a third is 21 pi, and then that is units cubed, like Dakota said, or Cody said earlier. Is that what you got, Jack? I know you said you thought you had it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Nice. We're getting you guys ready for some calculus and pre-calculus. So now, guys, I'm going to turn over the rest of the class. Let's get that delta done. Going to be some great prep for the first and second part of your test on Thursday.